Madam Deputy Speaker, that as I was formulating that speech themed about probity in my mind, that the prayers this morning, and it rang so true to me, I had to go to probity. Because the prayers this morning, as we heard in our prayers, our resident chaplain spoke about us as a government having integrity, wisdom, and compassion. And it only fortified in my mind how important it is to talk about probity. So then as I developed the idea of how important it is to do the right thing at the right time for the right reason. And the Honourable Member for Christchurch East Central is clearly doing the right thing. I fully and completely support all of the matters put before this Honourable House. And the reason I fully support it is because it is only codifying what the Minister of Finance gave in a ministerial statement in November. And the Honourable Member, clearly by his own admission, did not know where he was, because he asked in his statement, where was he? Where was he? And because he doesn't know what the taxes would be, he doesn't know anything about the taxes, and I'm going to read it because it was in the ministerial statement given by the Honourable Prime Minister, Minister of Finance. And partly at page 8 is available on the Parliament website. With that, Mr. Speaker, I therefore propose the following measures from income year 2024 with effect January 1, 2024. The Income Tax Act, Cap 73 of the laws of Barbados will be amended to include the following provisions. There shall be a new corporation tax of 9% subject to the following regimes. A company whose gross income is currently below $2 million and which is registered as a small business under the Small Business Development Act shall be subject to corporation tax rate of 5.5%. The corporation tax rate that is currently applicable to the insurance business sector of 0% for Class 1 businesses and 2% for Class 2 businesses shall remain. The international shipping business will remain taxed under the current tax regime established in 2019, noting that the international shipping industry is out of scope for the GLOBE rules, and government industry therefore needs to remain competitive, as Barbados' industry therefore needs to remain competitive, as in many countries it will be the same. For income year 2024, with effect from January 1, with respect to an in-scope multinational enterprise whose ultimate parent entity is in any jurisdiction which has not implemented an income inclusion rule and the undertaxed profiles profit, or whose constituent entities are not subject to an income inclusion rule or an undertaxed profits rule, the current tax regime established in 2019 shall be maintained and applied accordingly for such entities, and so on. And it goes on and on and on, and establishes what we are now codifying. And that's essentially what we're doing. So everything that the Honourable Member suggested was not said, was said in the statement by the Minister of Finance in November when he was supposed to be in his chair. I don't know where he was. He doesn't know where he was. Nobody knows where he was. Maybe Ronnie knows where he was. But I go further. Whoever Ronnie is, you go and make up. You go and make up. Not that you got people make up. You need to go and make up. Whoever Ronnie is. And then I go further. I go further, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Honourable Member suggested in the first part of his speech that Barbados was not experiencing any growth. That all the growth, it was a failing economy, that the Central Bank of Barbados could not be believed, that the 4.1% growth that we are seeing was not true because it was inflation. Now, I wanted to get up on a point of order, but I say, you know what? I'm going to let the Honourable Member speak and say what he has to say, and then come and say my piece. Let us not talk about the numbers. Let let us talk about the real experience of people in Barbados. The Honourable Member himself said car sales are doing reasonably well, but that is growth. Car sales cannot be doing reasonably well unless it's growth. The Honourable Member first says no growth, and then comes back in his same speech and says car sales doing well. Well, where do people get the money to buy the cars from?
On a point of order, man. If I say car sales are doing well, I did not say they're increasing. It could mean that they're stable. They haven't necessarily dropped. But I don't know. I did not say it increased. I did not say it increased. So please correct yourself, Honourable Member.
Madam Deputy Speaker, let me give you the real life experience to prove that the economy is doing well. If you're trying to build a house and want to get a contractor these days, the contractor or the people to work on the house will say, yes, we want to come and build that house for you. But I have these other 4 jobs going on, and I'm having difficulty finding construction workers. You know why? Because the economy is growing and doing well. If you go, Madam Deputy Speaker, to try to get a reservation in a restaurant and to tell you, yes, we have an opening 3 weeks from now, and you can't get one for 3 weeks. You know why? Because the economy is doing well and Barbados is growing. If you try to get from one part of Barbados to the other at a certain time of the day and hit a traffic jam because of the number of delivery vehicles, the number of construction vehicles, the number of people going about doing business and working with unemployment at one of the second lowest ever, because the economy is doing well. This is a real life experience. Barbadians are, as much as the Honourable Member talks about this number is related to inflation, Barbadians know better. You know why? Because they're seeing the benefits in their pocket. That's where they're seeing it. And if it's to take it to its logical conclusion, Madam Deputy Speaker, his administration, when they were in office over the last decade, his administration could not get more than 1% growth. And if you were to take in inflation, and according to him, you must deduct inflation, well, then they had recession for 10 years. They had recession for 10 years then. So to take it to logical conclusion, we are doing 4 times better than his administration could do. 4 times better. And in many years of that 10 years, they had no growth at all. So if you add the inflation, it was recession. So how could the Honourable Member with good conscience, and by the way, the Honourable Member to come and apologize for betrayal? I guess that is in keeping with the concept of probity and integrity.
How may I help you, sir?
What did he just say?
What is your
Let him,
intention? Is it point of order?
I think he will confess to having misled
Is it a point of order, sir?
No, I will sit because I'm sure he will confess. I said that I apologize for betraying their confidences to me.
But that's betrayal.
I apologize. They sat there together this morning and I overheard some of what they were saying.
Honourable members.
And I told you, ma'am, that I overheard the content of what they were saying. And I wanted to apologize to them for disclosing the content of their conversation.
Continue,
I did not want the entire world to know what they were talking about. It was dangerous.
And I
said I agree with the 2 of you. I would do it too. Don't get frightened for.
Madam Deputy Speaker.
You got more power than her.
Madam Deputy Speaker, as the Honourable Member said, he apologized for his betrayal.
Huh?
He called Madam Deputy Speaker. You know, there's a great power that we hardly use in here. We call for Hansard, and you can read back what the Honourable Member said. The Honourable Member apologized for his betrayal. That's what the Honourable Member said.
Agreed as to what I said.
Honourable Member is on his seat, Madam Deputy Speaker. I don't know what he's on his feet for. Anyway, he also went on to talk about road repairs on Highway 7. Well, let me be clear. There are various types of road repairs. A road repair can be a total reconstruction, or a road repair can be a mill and pave. What was being done from Rendezvous to the Arch is a total reconstruction of a road. What does that mean? That means rather than having natural gas on one side of the road, natural gas will be put on both sides of the road. Rather than having water mains on one side of the road, water mains will be put in on both sides of the road. Rather than having an internet cable in a PVC pipe, it will be put in concrete. Rather than having the tributaries that come from the sewage system and unarmored sleeves, it will be put in armored sleeves. This is a total reconstruction of a road. That is what was being planned for Highway 7. The other part of the road...
On a point of clarification, so the public needs now to know, based on what the Honourable Member for Christchurch West has said. So is he saying to the public that what has been done will be dug up? If that is logically where we're going, I think the public is entitled to know.
Honourable Member, that's
It
not a point of
seems to me that the
clarification.
Honourable Member is saying that this is a temporary expedient,
Madam
that it will
Speaker,
be
I do
dug
not
up.
agree. I do
That
not
it will be
agree to
dug
the
up.
point of elucidation. Remember, let him take a seat. I do not agree.
That it will be dug up.
According to the rules of this House, I must agree that I will be given an
Honourable
opportunity to speak
Member,
on elucidation. He cannot speak on elucidation while I'm on my feet, and I disagree and do not give him that permission.
Understood.
Good. Now let me go forward.
No, I was.
Members
Member,
need to
you-
know
you-
the
you will have
rules.
to-
He called
Honourable
it-
Member,
Members
sir.
need to know the rules in this honourable
Honourable
chamber.
Member,
Blowing rules.
please, if you want to interject or intervene, it is for you to indicate if it's a point of order.
And he corrected
And
the
then
procedure.
unless I acknowledge,
Yes.
at this point in time you were saying it is a point of elucidation, is that what you were
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
But if it is not allowed, you can't do it. You're a legal mind, I'm not.
Well, when you sit there, you become a legal mind too, man.
But would you give the Honourable Minister the opportunity, the Honourable
Yes.
Member to continue, or I'll be guided by Mr. Clerk, the Honourable Clerk to...
He has. You can't let me sit down. You're a backbencher today. You have to tell. Or don't disturb the chair.
Thank you, understood.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honourable Member has to tell you and tell the people of this country if he is now admitting that these roadworks are temporary expedient,
The Honourable Member,
that they will
I beg
be
your
dug
pardon,
up.
Honourable Member for
It will be
Christchurch-
dug up.
Honourable Member for Christchurch South, Honourable
Yes, ma'am.
Member, the
Yes,
Leader of the
ma'am.
Opposition. I am understanding
Yes, ma'am.
exactly what was expected. The Honourable Member for Christchurch West, you were indicating you want to get up and speak on a point of matter of elucidation. The Honourable Member will then have to give way to you. If he doesn't, then I cannot compel him. If it's a point of order, then I can make the ruling as far as I'm understanding it in my new
That's right.
situation here temporarily.
Yes.
So, the Honourable Member for Christchurch West, have you given way?
No, I
He has
have not categorically
has
have not
not.
given
So
way
this
to
is
hear
a
any
point of
rubbish
order.
from the member for Christchurch
So, will you-
South.
can you take
And
your
I will
seat?
not be given away
Can you take
on
your
no
seat,
point
sir?
of elucidation.
He's afraid of me.
Because the honourable member
Honourable
could not
Member for
elucidate on
Christchurch.
anything that
He's
he
afraid
said
of me.
Honourable
previously.
Member for Christchurch South, will you please take your seat?
Yes, he's afraid of me.
You have one and you probably will get a chance again. Honourable Member for Christchurch South, please.
Right. So as I
Christchurch
was
West, I beg your pardon.
saying,
Christchurch West.
Madam Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker, there are different ways that roads can be rehabilitated. You can do a complete construction of a road, as I just said, or you can do mill and pave. As money became available, the government made a decision to do mill and pave, where mill and pave was appropriate, where there was no plans to do full reconstruction. In other areas where there are lots of developments taking place, rather than to have to do cross cuts, what we call cross cuts to the road, then the decision was taken to do water on both sides, natural gas on both sides, and improve the road, because Highway 7, whether we like it or not, is the second most popular road in Barbados. And it's because of the number of commercial businesses there, the number of people that traverse it to get to and from. So clearly, the Honourable Member, and I want to make it very, very clear.
Honourable Member for Christchurch West,
Yes.
am I and the public to understand through your explanation that there's no need then, if you're putting it on both sides of the road, that you do not have to dig up across the road to be able to inhibit traffic from
Correct.
flowing as often as it should, and so on and so forth.
That is,
Are we
that is
well?
correct. That is correct, ma'am.
Okay, I
Once
think
it's
the
on
honourable
both
member
sides of the road.
understands that now.
I would hope so.
I think the honourable member understands.
But you know, in his
On a point
current
of order, ma'am.
incarnation,
On a point of order, ma'am.
What is your point of order, sir? What is your point of order, sir? Is the honourable member misleading? What is your
Yes,
point of
that
order?
is it.
Well,
That
will you,
is it.
Will
That
you
is
please
it.
explain, sir?
Let the
I'll give you
honourable
the
member
privilege.
tell the chair, tell the speaker's chair, tell you, ma'am, whether he has to dig the roads up or whether the repairs can take place substantially with the roads intact as they are now. I am saying that based on what I was told, based on information I received from the government, that the roads will have to be dug up, that it is such substantial work that the road will have to be closed. Let the honourable member admit that to this chamber. The roads will have to be dug up and closed so that this work that is going on now is a temporary expedient being done for World Cup. And after World Cup or whenever, or when the rains wash it
Honourable
off,
member, I'm
the
not going
roads
to
will
allow you
have
to
to
make
be dug
another
up.
speech. You have put forward your query. The honourable member will
The
continue.
roads will have to be dug up.
yeah,
Explain.
thank you very much. That what the honourable member is saying is could not be further from the truth. Could not be further from the truth. There are sections that were designed for full reconstruction, and there are other sections that are just for mill and pave. And the mill and pave parts are going through, and I'm happy to join with the member for St. Michael Southeast and say that she's doing a fantastic job getting a lot of the mill and pave road done, that mill and pave work done on the roads that languished under the previous administration for a decade. And it put us in such a bad situation that we now be spending millions and millions of dollars, 10 times more than we should have been spending if they were keeping with the maintenance schedule that they should have been keeping to from then. But I'm going to go further. Madam, you know, sometimes people get very concerned when they see others doing well. Sometimes people get very, very concerned when they see others doing well. And you know what they tend, I often say jealousy is one of the greatest motivators of the world. People kill over it. Jealousy. And this government, I'm not saying that we are perfect. I'm not saying that you don't make mistakes from time to time. We're human, everybody does. But you know what? We're doing well. The country is growing. People have confidence in this country. People have confidence in our leader. People have confidence in this administration. And people have confidence that we are doing the best we can for them. And you know why that is? You know why that is? Because they can open their eyes and see. The honourable member says straight that you can see the roads. So the honourable member and his administration is jealous that they couldn't get any roads done, but we getting roads done. The honourable member and his administration is jealous that they can get hotels built, but we getting hotels built. The honourable member and his administration is jealous that we have unity and we are able to move together as one party, and there is no unity over there. None at all. The honourable, when last was a no confidence motion labeled anywhere in this party, anywhere in this administration, and on anybody? When, I can cancel my Netflix subscription because I get more comedy in here listening to the honourable member. That's the truth. I get more comedy in here listening to the honourable member. Madam.
Point of order, ma'am.
What is your point of order, sir?
It's the honourable member misleading the chamber into believing that he built Sam Lords, now called Wyndham, and I'm not going to add Hyatt that 6 years later he can't get built But let the honourable member tell this country whether the Sam Lord's project was his project. He's misleading the chamber. Misleading the chamber.
Honourable member for St.
Misleading the chamber.
Christchurch West.
Can't get Hayat built and boasting about Sam Lord's that somebody else started.
Madam, I think I dealt with the Sam Lord's matter quite appropriately in the budget debate. I don't have to go back. I don't have to go back to the Sam Lord's matter. I'm gonna just say a few other points. A few other points. Governments have what I call frills.
Beg your pardon, ma'am.
Governments can facilitate, regulate, innovate, and legislate. In this particular instance, we are using regulation in order to drive growth. We are using regulation in order to drive growth. What does that mean? That means setting a tax rate that is lower than other companies would have to pay in the place where they make those profits, but pay their taxes in Barbados, means that the tax burden that local Barbadians then have to carry is less. It is no secret, Madam Deputy Speaker, that 72% of all of the corporate tax that is taken in this country is actually profits made in a country other than Barbados. So that means that only 28% of the tax burden for corporation tax is from Barbados. And what does that do for the average person? That means that money that is taken in from corporate tax is used to improve education, to pay nurses in healthcare, to pay the doctors, to improve education, healthcare, sporting facilities.
Point of order, ma'am. Point of order. I don't know how the honourable minister can talk about paying nurses when there are nurses in this country today complaining that they haven't been paid for months. I'd be ashamed to say that.
I remember Christchurch West.
Here where they come from. I can name the government departments where the nurses haven't been paid for a long time.
Honourable member, you made your query.
So don't come and give the public the impression that you paying nurses, and the nurses out there crying because you won't pay them.
Honourable member for Christchurch West.
Clearly no point of order. Now, let me clearly say, the nurses of Barbados, the teachers of Barbados, the police.
Point of order again.
Barbados
there are some teachers who haven't been paid either.
Honourable member for Christchurch West.
Let me go on. As I said, Madam Deputy Speaker, governments can facilitate, regulate, innovate, or legislate. And this is an opportunity for us to use regulation to facilitate growth. That means we must go there and encourage more companies, more businesses to continue on that growth trajectory so that Barbados as an economy and our people will benefit. I often say, Madam Deputy Speaker, that a rising tide raises all ships. Give everybody a chance. Give all Barbadians to be the best they can be so that we can all benefit from the opportunities that this small but innovative and vibrant country has to offer. And that's what we strive to do every single day, to make Barbados better and to stop poor people from being poor. And that is exactly what we try to do on this side and this administration. Not on the other side. Not on the other side. Not on the other side that trying to keep people poor. We don't believe in mendicancy on this side. We believe that everybody must reach their greatest potential and be their God-given right to benefit from the prosperity of this country. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Honourable Member continues to try to suggest that this country is not doing well. He tries to suggest that the economy is failing. But everybody knows that is not true. And the sad thing about it is, he comes and suggests it with a bold face. Everybody knows, including him. But when he was on this side, he was here talking about how it was growing too.
I have never, point of order, ma'am. I have never made a speech on that side when I spoke of economic growth. The one speech I made where I congratulated the government, and I say this with a very straight face, is when the government sent the people back to university. And I still congratulate the government for that, because you know how I feel about education. But let him proceed, ma'am.
And we couldn't do it without growth. We couldn't do it without the money that was generated by having these things able and available.
Point of order. The government did it immediately upon assuming office. So if it came from growth, it was the last government's growth. Thank you, ma'am.
Madam, first, the young member must say how I misled the House.
Point of order. It was an initiative taken as soon as the government came into office.
Church South, please. We cannot allow for this kind of activity and this kind of interruption. You had your hour and a half, sir, without that measure of interruption. Please allow the honourable member to have his half hour to be able to make his presentation.
And I know the hour is getting there. Madam Deputy Speaker, we could do it because we knew the trajectory. How long does the member have, ma'am?
You ain't gonna pass your half hour.
Honourable member, you are not the Deputy Speaker there today, sir. He has been interrupted so many times. He has to bring his speech to conclusion. And that is how we respect each other in here, mutual respect. Honourable member for Christchurch West, will you please continue?
Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker. Let me just say two last words. A few last words. Business people make decisions on certainty. And this administration has created an atmosphere of certainty. Certainty of growth, certainty of taxes, certainty of opportunity. And that's where business people make their decisions. They make their decisions on certainty. And business people have shown their confidence in this administration by looking to start businesses, to build facilities, to build opportunities so that all of us could benefit. And that's what is happening in this country. And as business people make decisions on certainty, this administration was certain that we would improve this economy and get growth. That is why we could pay for the university education that the honourable member supported, because we knew that growth would be coming, because we knew of the certainty and the process that we were following. And we were not wrong. We were proven to be absolutely correct. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, this administration has got 4 times the amount of growth as his administration has gotten. This administration continues to do the business of the people with probity, with sincerity, and with a laser-like focus. And we will not be distracted by any noises on the other side with a man that will soon be a one-party man. With those few words, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm obliged.
Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, Christchurch.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I have come to my feet just to bring some Let me just continue, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is unfortunate that the debate has taken this path, because this government believes in taking these matters extremely seriously, and this is not anything to be trifled with. And to the extent that the honourable member for Christchurch South has made what could loosely be called a contribution to this debate, it is important that we send a very clear signal, as the honourable member for Christchurch West indicated, to all and sundry in relation to where Barbados stands. Now, the honourable leader of the opposition, I'll be very brief, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition asked some questions in relation to government's capital works programs and the timing of all of these things. And I just say to the public through you, Madam Deputy Speaker, in response to his very direct questions, is that 3 years ago, this time 3 years ago, almost exactly, Barbados was still recovering very clearly from the ashfall from the volcano in St. Vincent. And we had engaged a number of persons which he so passionately pleaded for them to be retained in relation to the ASH program. And let me remind the Honourable Member and the public through you, Madam Deputy Speaker, that whilst I consider myself a reasonably good economist, I have not yet figured out how to spend the same money twice. And therefore, when the Honourable Member asks about whether or not why these works were not done 3 years ago or 2 years ago and the like, Madam Deputy Speaker, let me remind him through you, Madam Deputy Speaker, that when we engage, one, the ASH workers in the middle of the pandemic, when we had to provide additional support because of the fallout of the pandemic, the government simply did not have the space to provide the social support that we were doing for COVID, respond to the ASH, respond to the Hurricane Elsa a few weeks later, as you remember, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is 2021, in case he is forgotten. 2021. April, ASH, July, the Hurricane Elsa, and during that summer, the Delta surge meant that we had to stand up additional facilities to isolate people in order to ensure that we contain as much as possible the pandemic. All of that required resources to be expended, and therefore when the Honourable Member asks why roads or any other thing could not have been done 3 years ago, those were the circumstances that we all were confronted with. I don't know if he has forgotten what Barbados was like 3 years ago, but certainly my memory is absolutely clear, given the extraordinary support that this government had to provide to ensure that we kept Barbadians safe and provide an environment for us to be able to have an extraordinary recovery. Now, the Honourable Member raised a question in relation to my definition of a recovery. Yeah, because you know what? Whilst we have been able to ensure that we have substantive economic activity return, the fact is we lost 2 years of COVID. And households in this country and people in this country and businesses in this country are still feeling the impact of that, sir. And therefore, when we speak to a recovery, we are talking about what we want to see in relation to an inclusive recovery, accelerated, because the levels of where we are today relative to 2019, the last normal year, yes, we have recovered. But the reality of it is we lost those 2 years, and therefore we need to be able to push ahead even further to ensure that we catch up in relation to where we were. So I'm not going to get into any debate with you about whether we've recovered or not. I know that we have compared to 2019 levels. However, we have had some challenges. Now, you speak to agriculture, so I'll respond to you on that too, because you seem to not be living. Through you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Through you, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'll respond to the Honourable Member for Christchurch South. In case he does not remember, last year, January to April, Barbados experienced 50% of the average 30-year rainfall in this country. Last year. Yes. Which meant that we had to introduce water restrictions from May to August last year. Then in September, the intense heat and then the rain caused more issues in relation to agriculture, which meant that, and you know what he doesn't want to hear, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that when the persons in the poultry industry were losing birds in September, it ain't just the big people that was losing birds, Madam Deputy Speaker. It was the small people in this country that were losing birds. You understand? Because of the intense heat. And therefore, 2023 was not a normal year for agriculture, but we weathered the storm nevertheless, and we were able to ensure that they can recover. But the honourable member does not seem to want to understand that there's nobody in Barbados that can make the rainfall. Nobody, not even, I know you making people cry. But there's nobody in Barbados that can make the rainfall. You understand? And therefore, I just say to you, we have been working collaboratively with the stakeholders to ensure that we can keep things on the even keel, which is why when you and your associates speak loosely about government's policy, which is why we're doing the debt swap to upgrade the same South Coast tertiary plant, which I'm sure you would be grateful for if you were still on this side, to ensure that sewage don't flow in the streets of this country again, and that the same, not just the aquifers, but also the agriculture in this country will have access to water to be able to ensure that we can achieve some level of food security. But those are things that we are doing. I don't know what you are doing when the day come out across the road there, but I can assure the people of this country that this government working in their interest to be able to bring some stability to this country. Now, I'm not even going there. His chocolates in the schoolyard. I don't know what it is that he's getting on.
Honourable member, please.
Yes,
please.
Madam Speaker. All I will respond to his statement that he's not an economist is that he should place a full stop at the end of that statement and say nothing else in relation to the management of this country. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, this is serious stuff, and I'm not going to respond to some of the things that he has put on the table. The reality of it, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that whether it is within the context of tourism in relation to arrivals, as the Honourable Member for Christchurch West indicated, there is real growth in this economy. The Honourable Member, whether he or his associates in the Democratic Labour Party, I know that they do not want to accept the fact that there is growth in the economy. There is. And therefore, Barbadians know, and Barbadians can see for themselves the difference in the economic performance under the Barbados Labour Party compared to that under the Democratic Labour Party. And lest we forget, during COVID, when the airplanes stopped, we all recognized the difference that tourism made to this country. All of the taxi people, all of the tourism workers, all of the people in the direct tourism services, all of them can attest to the growth in this economy. Furthermore, when you look, Madam Deputy Speaker, at the employment levels in this country, across every sector, we have seen employment increasing. Now, and I think to the extent that, as it relates to construction, which the Honourable Member for Christchurch West has indicated, this is a challenge for Barbados. It really, really, really is. And the Honourable Member for St. Philip St. Philip West, with respect to the construction gateway program, has been intensifying that training to be able to get more people into that sector. I know that we've seen some importation of labor in certain circumstances in relation to that, to be able to help supply the demand for labor because of the construction projects that are coming on stream. Now, the Honourable Member does not like to hear this because he would like the rest of the country to believe that somehow or the other what they're seeing with their eyes is not the reality of this country. But I leave it to him and his cohorts in George Street to work out who is the leader or whoever. I done with that, Madam Deputy Speaker. Now, this bill, as we indicated, ma'am, is to be able to reposition Barbados for the future. And this government is intended to ensure that we are in a position not to just open the opportunity, but to have the private sector, however small, medium, large, whatever the size of the firm, Madam Deputy Speaker, to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. So we do not take this lightly at all. this debate is, I believe, is consequential in relation to how we move forward. The honourable member could get into whatever details he want to get into in asking questions, but I know Bajans know the difference between good fiscal management and bad fiscal management. They endured 10 years of a lost decade under the Democratic Labour Party. It is clear that they are still lost, and will endure another 10 years of being lost, thanks to him, and therefore continue on that journey, honourable member. I commend you wholeheartedly. But I say to the people, through you, Madam Deputy Speaker, this government remains focused on ensuring that we can deliver on the things that needs to be done. He questioned matters in relation to financing, and let me finish the thought that has started in relation to the dry season and what I spoke about earlier. So during September and October last year, we had the heat, we had the intense rain, and we were not in a position to spend on capital works effectively because of the change in the weather patterns. There were some fairly intense weather storms that didn't allow us to be able to do the roads in time. And therefore, we recalibrated, Madam Deputy Speaker, to ensure that, having seen what happened in the previous dry season, that we ensured that during this time we were able to do as many roads as we possibly can. And we said to the Ministry of Transport and Works, we will reorient the budget in order to make sure that during this dry season, you can do as many roads as you possibly can, because once the rainy season starts again, there's likely to be a hiatus. And what does that mean, Madam Deputy Speaker? That you had to change the way that you were geared in order to deliver. So we, in the Ministry of Finance, had to change our process internally to make sure that we were still able to meet the other objectives of government, but to make resources available, not just during the last quarter of the last fiscal year, first 3 months of this year, but definitely between April and June into July, before the rains return, in order to ensure that we can maximize, Madam Deputy Speaker, the weather pattern in order to be able to achieve. So I know the honourable member is feeling a little under pressure. And just for the record, Thornbury Hill does not only belong to Christchurch South. Thornbury Hill belongs to Christchurch East Central as well as Christchurch West Central. And therefore, it is not only to Christchurch South that he needs to be concerned about. It is the people of this country that elected this government to be able to fix the issues that have been confronted them, and we continue, Madam Deputy Speaker, to so do. And therefore, let his heart not be troubled, because our delivery of what we promised and what he signed up to twice, Madam Deputy Speaker, what he signed up to twice, despite his recent epiphany, this government will continue to be able to deliver for the people. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, I don't propose to detain the chamber much longer, as you know, but these are two substantive bills that we believe will reposition this country to be able to deliver more for our people. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, with those few words, I beg to move that this bill be read a second time.
The question is that this bill be read the second time. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. We think the ayes have it.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that you do now leave the chair and the House resolve itself in the committee for further consideration of this bill.
Second.
The question is that they do now leave the chair and allow this honourable chamber to resolve itself in committee. Honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
This Honourable House is now in committee.
Mr. Chairman, permission to call the bill in parts.
Permission so granted.
Part 1, clauses 1 through 4.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 1, Clause 1 to 4 stand part.
The question is that Part 1, Clauses 1 through 4 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 2, clauses 5 through 8.
Chair, I beg to move an amendment of Clause 5, Part 4 to delete the existing Clause 5.4 and to replace it with the following. Notwithstanding subsection 2, for the first fiscal year commencing on or after 1 January 2024, and the top-up tax shall apply only where a DMTT group incomes is subject to a IIR or to a UTPR in another jurisdiction. And with that amendment, Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Part 2, Clauses 5 to 8 stand part as amended.
Second.
The question is that Part 2, Clauses 5 to 8 as amended stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 3, clauses 9 through 22.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 3, Clauses 9 through 22 stand part.
Second.
The question is that Part 3, Clauses 9 to 22 stand part. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 4, clauses 23 through 28.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 4, Clause 23 to 28 stand part.
Second.
The question is that Part 4, Clauses 23 to 28 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 5, clauses 29 through 34.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 5, Clauses 29 to 34 stand part.
Second.
The question is that Part 5, Clauses 29 to 34 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 6, clauses 35 through 38.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 6, Clause 35 to 38 stand part.
Second.
The question is that Part 6, Clauses 35 to 38 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 7, clauses 39 through 43.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 7, Clauses 39 to 43 stand part.
Second.
The question is that Part 7, Clauses 39 to 42 stand part. 243 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, please say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 8, clauses 44 through 53.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 8, Clauses 44 to 53 stand part.
Second.
The question is that Part 8, Clauses 44 to 52, 53 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 11, This one.
Mr. Chairman, we just had to do a renumbering, so it's really part 9 in the document and not part 10. Part 9 clauses 54 through 56.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 9 clauses 54 to 56 stand part as amended with the title.
Made second.
The question is that Part 9, clauses 54 to 56 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, please say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 10, clauses 57 through 64.
Chair, I beg to move that Part 10 clauses 57 to 64 stand part.
The question is that Part 10, clauses 57 to 64 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Part 11, clauses 65 through 68.
Chair, I beg to move the inclusion of a clause 69 for a validation clause. So to insert a new clause 69 validation, notwithstanding sections 3, 2, and 5 of the Provisional Collection of Taxes Act, Cap 55, all taxes purportedly paid and collected pursuant to this act from November 7, 2023 to the date of commencement of this act shall be deemed to have been lawfully and validly paid and collected. And with that insertion of that clause, I beg to move that Part 11, clauses 65 to 69 stand part as amended.
The question is that Part 11, clauses 65 to 69 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarity, the Part 11 was amended to insert an additional clause. So 69 is the additional clause inserted into Part 11. That was amended with the insertion of a new clause. First schedule.
Chair, I beg to move that the first schedule be the first schedule to the bill.
Made second.
The question is that the first schedule be the first schedule of the bill. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
The second schedule.
Chair, I beg to move that the second schedule be the second schedule to the bill.
Made second.
The question is that the second schedule be the second schedule of the bill. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Chair, I beg to move that you do not report to Her Honor the Deputy Speaker the passing of one bill as amended in committee.
Second.
The question is that I do now report to Her Honor the Deputy Speaker the passing of one bill in committee. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
chairman has reported to me the passing of one bill in committee with amendment. Honourable member for Christchurch East.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be read a third time.
And a second.
The question is that this bill be read the third time. All our members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be now passed and cited as the Corporation Top-Up Tax Amended Act 2024.
And second.
The question is that this bill be now passed and so cited. All honourable members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. Methinks the ayes have it. This bill is now passed and so cited.
Order number 8, ma'am. In the name of the Honourable Minister in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, to move the second reading of the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2024.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be read a second time.
And a second.
The question is that this bill be read a second time. Honourable members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that you do not leave the chair and the House resolve itself in the committee for further consideration of this bill.
And a second.
The question is that I do now leave the chair and this House resolve itself in committee. Honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Methinks the ayes have it. This
This Honourable House is now in committee.
Clauses 1 through 5.
Chair, I beg to the amendment to clause 5(6) to delete clause 5(6) and to replace it with the following, which shall read, this section and sections 23N to 23X apply to and take effect from A, income year 2024 with respect to a company that has trading losses brought forward from income years prior to income years 2024, and such losses are in excess of $100 million. B, income year 2025 with respect to a company other than a company referred to in paragraph A. And with that amendment, Chair, I beg to move that clause 1 to 5 stand part as amended.
And a second.
The question is, the clauses 1 through 5 as amended stand part. All honourable members in favor, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, clauses 6 through 14 is really, there were two clauses, 13, we just do the adjustment. So it's really clauses 6 through 14.
Chair, I beg to move the amendment to the second clause 13 to read 14 as opposed to 13, and beg to move that clauses 6 to 14 stand part as amended.
Make a second.
The question is that clauses 6 through 14 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Clause, you insert. Mr. Chairman, the mover would propose an amendment. We are inserting an additional clause.
Chair, we propose to include additional clause 15, which will be a validation clause, which will state 15, notwithstanding sections 3, 2, and 5 of the Provisional Collection of Taxes Act, capped 85, all taxes purportedly paid and collected pursuant to this act from November 7th, 2023 to the date of commencement of this act shall be deemed to have been lawfully and validly paid and collected. And so with that insertion, I beg to move that clause 15 stand part.
And second.
The question is that clause 15 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. All honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Report.
I beg to move that you do not report to our Honor the Deputy Speaker the passing of one bill in committee as amended.
And second.
The question is that I do not report to Her Honor the Deputy Speaker the passing of one bill in committee as amended. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Honorable members, the chairman of committee has reported to me the passing of one bill in committee with amendments.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be read a third time.
Make a second.
The question is that this bill be read the third time. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be now passed and cited as the Income Tax Amendment Act 2024.
Make a second.
The question is that this bill be now passed and so cited. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those members against, please say nay. Methinks the ayes have it. This bill is now passed and so cited.
Order number 13, ma'am. In the name of the Honorable Leader of the House, to move the passing of a resolution that the Honorable the House of Assembly concur in the amendments made by the Honorable the Senate to the ICC Cricket World Cup West Indies Bill 2024.
Honorable member.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I beg to move that this resolution do not pass, which allows for the amendments made by the Honorable, the House of the Honorable the Senate to the ICC Cricket World Cup West Indies Bill to be approved by this Honorable House.
The question is that this resolution be now passed. All honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. We think the ayes have it. This resolution is now passed.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And with that, we have come to the end of today's sitting, and I therefore beg to move the adjournment of the House until Tuesday, the 14th of May at 10 a.m.
The question is that this honorable chamber be now adjourned until Tuesday, the 14th of May, 2024, at 10 a.m. Honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Methinks the ayes have it. This honorable chamber is now suspended, adjourned, excuse me, until Tuesday, May the 14th at 10 a.m. in the morning. 10 a.m.